keep an eye on those things. Right, we'll jump over here with Len and have a little look at this great gadget. Now, fantastic guys at Mandor have come up with a very creative idea. They've gone and started with the basic barbecue tom sets. Now, when we say this, they're a heavy duty, heavy gauge product. Sure, we've all gone and bought that nice, cheap, nasty set of barbecue tools. Now, they've put a great thought and a great idea together to create a really durable product. But what else they've gone and done is included a digital temperature setting in it. It's probably a little bit hard to tell, but what we can see is there's a little sharp point that sits on the end. Now, it's fantastic for getting that perfect steak all the time. But take into account, guys, it's not just for steaks these times. I've got some nice little lamb backstrap fillets here that we've done earlier in one of our lamb cutting demonstrations. And you can use that for anything, whether it be a nice thick chop or whether it be lamb backstrap fillets for that perfect steak. Now, there's plenty of settings in there that we can go on to use as well. Now, alongside the top, they've got another great deal of products. When we talk their little thermometer gauges, they've got some larger thermometer gauges like the old analog style, or we've got a digital read one as well, which is absolutely fantastic. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass over to the professional, Len from Mandor. He knows a lot more about this stuff than what I do. All I can let you guys know is I've been using it for the last 10 days and it has cooked that perfect product every time. So I'll pass it over to you, Len. And like we did say, I hear we're giving away a set of these today. Someone get this special or secret question right, eh?
Yeah, that's right. So we want to encourage people to, when they buy good meat from these guys, and all your local butchers, get the information, always ask them. If you've got a question, ask the guys when you buy your meat. You know, ask Kenny. Say, Kenny, I bought this nice piece of steak, what's the best way to cook it? And he'll tell you. What we do at Mandor though is we develop these great new products just to make it easier for guys to do the barbecue. And when I say barbecue, it can be done on a hot plate, or it can be done on a gas barbecue or a campfire or whatever. We just use the name barbecue as a general term for what men do outside between beers. So what happens is, there's been a lot of research done, and when people say, I like my steak done medium, or I like my pork done medium, or I like my lamb done well, there's a temperature involved for each one of those. So for beef, for instance, if you want your beef done rare, you're looking for a temperature inside the beef of 61 degrees. If you want it done medium like most people, you're looking for 71 degrees. If you want it well done, it's got to be 77 degrees. Now it doesn't matter how long it's going to be on the barbecue, if it's not at 71 degrees for medium beef, it's not medium. You can be there for a week if your barbecue is not hot enough. Now you don't have your barbecue too cold either, because if you put the steak on and it doesn't sizzle, that's a problem. You need to get it hotter before you put the steak on, otherwise it'll stew. So that's what we've done. We've developed a whole range of products. The digital tongs are an easy way of doing it. We also have a bigger unit, which you can put into a lamb roast or a beef roast or anything in the oven, and you leave it in while it's cooking. You don't have to keep opening the door to check it. You can see it through the window, and it will tell you how far the beef is along or the lamb, and if it's well done or medium or however you like it. So it saves a lot. I mean, we have, in Mandor, we have the man laws. That's where the Mandor brand name comes from, and the man laws are things which are it's part of life and what men live for. Number 6 is my favourite. Mandor number 6 is that barbecue chef shall be kept hydrated at all times. Now that's a wife's job. Got to get the beer out of the barbecue. But number 2 is cutting a steak to check for doneness is like sawing down a tree to find out how old it is. So we've gone past that now. Every time when you cut a steak to see it, or a bit of meat to see how far along it's done, and it's still raw in the middle, it's nearly ruined, isn't it, John?
Yeah, definitely. You're exactly right with what you're saying there, man, for sure.
Because you've let all the juices out. So at least with these inexpensive items, you can test it, it'll be perfect every time. They're obviously reusable, and it just makes that difference between a backyard barbecue and a restaurant quality steak. Now the meat you'll taste here today from Jonathan is just meat done on a plain barbecue with a bit of the McCormick seasoning. It's so easy to do, and we'll know exactly how it is. So when it's done, it's done. Off the plate, we'll let it rest for a while. But as part of our promotion here today, we're giving away a set of tongs for somebody who can answer a simple question. When we do the tastings, when you've cooked it all, we've shown the people that it works, they have a taste of the meat, and then we'll ask a simple question. Whoever can answer it, we're going to set a tongs to. Now we're selling some products over there as well. They're all at very good prices. You can have a look at them. Liz is over there. And we've got Jacob here doing some videoing. So go over there when it's finished, have a look, see what you think. If you buy anything, we're going to give a free present away with every purchase just this afternoon. Simply because A, we're nice people, B, it's the end of the area, and C, I've got no more space left in the bag. So I'm going to pass you back over to Jonathan now to do the cooking. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for that, man. Now guys, we'll clearly see here today just how fantastic this product is. Now I'm a true passionate foodie, I love my trade and I love my food. Now I think I can get it right every time. But at the end of the day, what I want to try to talk to you about is the likes of these little steak gauges. Now, no matter how good we think we are as a cook, we always have that entertainment party or a dinner party. We get a few people come around and we are out of that backyard barbecue. There's always someone that likes this steak cooked a little bit different. Some like it medium, medium rare, medium well, well done. So what we can go on from there to do is use these fantastic little gauges. And from there we might have that 4 or 6 little steaks on the plate. We can go and put it one in each individual steak. And from there we will get each one cooked absolutely perfect. Now, another great thing is, like Len mentioned before, it's not just about the barbecue. When we're doing that perfect roast at home, they've got this fantastic gauge that we can leave in the roast while it's in the oven. Whether we be making it here at Christmas time or doing that lovely Sunday beef roast or lamb roast, we'll get it perfect every time, and that's a great little gadget. Well, then we go into the digital read one, which is fantastic for if we're doing a little roast or something on the barbecue. But now, when we do a roast on a barbecue, most people think we need our wood, which is very, very true. It certainly makes things a lot easier. But what I want to talk to you today about is just a few tips and tricks and a little bit of advice on what we can do on a barbecue plate. Obviously we all think of steak, a risotto, chops, but if we've got that nice little mini lamb roast. Now, when I say a little mini lamb roast or a little mini beef roast, whatever it may be, I'm talking a product that might be around that 500 to 600 grams. Obviously we couldn't adapt this technique if we were to be doing a massive 2 or 3 kilo roast. It really wouldn't work. But what I've got on the barbecue plate here is a nice little lamb rump. Now, all I'm basically doing is sealing that through, giving it that nice crust on the outside. I'm sure we all enjoy that beautiful crunchy burn bits on the outside. By sealing it first, that is what we are trying to achieve. Now you'll also see I've got a stainless steel mixing bowl. That's all it is. You can also use any heat-proof dish or lid that we can turn upside down. And what we're basically creating is its own little convention oven on top of that woodless barbecue plate. So once I've gone through and sealed that through, given it a nice crust on the outside, all I do is pop it underneath that little hood and let it go. Now when I say let it go, that's another great little tip I love to give people. Where a lot of people go wrong when it comes to cooking is we tend to stress out. What we need to do is let the machinery do the work. There is a science behind cooking, like we were talking about temperatures and stuff like that when it comes to the right settings, and that's where these guys are doing a fantastic job at Mandor. But what I'm trying to say to you guys is, we all put that lovely roast in the oven or on the barbecue and we're constantly checking it or we're constantly at it, we're opening and closing the oven door. And that's where we start to affect that end result. But from there, what else I would like to pass on with a little bit of knowledge and a few little tips is just that science and understanding of how to treat your product or produce right. Now, like I mentioned earlier as well, as a local independent butcher, it's a massive part of what we do is our customer service. It's what separates us from the supermarket chain. So when you are down there, hit us up and ask us for that advice. That's what we're there to do. So what I want to cover first is we'll talk about steaks. Now, unfortunately, I've sold out of steaks today. We've gone through a stack over the last 10 days. So I've got some nice little lamb fillets. So take into account, when I say we're going to talk about steaks, I'm talking about everything. Whether it be that nice little lamb cutlet, a little lamb loin chop, or a little backstrap fillet as I go and put these on the plate. What a lot of people tend to do, we go down to the local butcher, just quickly put some of this beautiful McCormick seasoning on there, a little bit more, and get those beautiful smells happening. Now, what a lot of people do is they go to their local independent butcher. We go in, we've got a few steaks, we've got a few people coming around for dinner, or we're just cooking that midweek meal. We go and heat the barbecue up. That's what we're about today, the barbecue. We go outside, we heat the barbecue up. Now who actually goes to that fridge, removes the steaks from the fridge, takes them straight out to the barbecue and puts them straight on? Surprisingly, there's a lot of people that do it. I know it's all about time, but what happens there, it's a bit like yourself. If we were to go, if say it was a freezing cold this morning, if we were to go and jump into a really cold shower, what we do is tense up and lock up. It's our natural movement is to do that. Now cattle is the exact same, or beef, or lamb, whatever it may be. What will happen is when we put that really cold product onto a warm plate, the protein really locks together. And that's where the science comes into it, because it reacts with that real sudden change. So what I'm trying to say is what we need to do is remove that product from the fridge and let it get to room temperature. And same if we were doing a roast. Make sure we pull that little boneless lamb rump or rack of lamb. We can always do the rack of lamb the same way as what I'm doing here today. But those remove it from the fridge to get it to room temperature first. And what that will do is it will limit that reaction when we put it onto that really nice hot plate. Now while we're on the topic of steaks as well, before I go to the other end of the cooking cycle when we talk about resting the product, what I want to talk to people about is letting that barbecue plate or fry pan, grill pan, whatever it may be, do the work for you at home. Now what a lot of people tend to do, we'll go and season a nice steak or just put a little bit of salt, pepper, olive oil, or rice bran oil I should say, onto that lovely steak. Then from there we go and put it on the barbecue plate. We let it go for that 2 to 3 minutes. And of course we get anxious and we go to pick it up. Does anyone ever find sometimes that steak will grab to the plate and we go and twist that turn because we think it's going to lock on there? What naturally happens with the protein is it will release. Now, once it's cooked through, it's probably a little bit hard to see, but it's a bit like fish. If we were talking fish, we'll see what we call an opaque colour, where we can see the colour of the fish starting to change. Now what basically happens, as that steak starts to cook through, yes it might lock onto that plate and grab, but after a certain time it will naturally release itself. So make sure we leave it there guys, don't go and constantly keep trying to turn it, grab it, to pull it away from the plate, because it will naturally release itself. That's just a great little tip to get into when we are trying to do that perfect steak as well. Now what else I want to cover today is resting our products. Whether it be the roast or whether it be that beautiful steak, lamb chop, burger, whatever it may be. Where we seem to go wrong, there's a lot of people, these guys are just looking for you, Kenny. They're chasing free giveaways, mate.
Oh, alright, I'm giving it out. What do you reckon?
I just think we can certainly walk around here and some of these fantastic products out, mate. There's plenty there to go around. I'll just grab that shirt, mate. You might keep that for a special little one.
Very good.
Thank you. Won't fit me, so we'll have to give it away. But what I wanted to talk to you about is Kenny walks around here, some of these fantastic McCormick spices around. I want to talk about resting a product. Now we put that beautiful, perfect steak on a barbecue plate. We cook it, we get anxious, we pull it off, we put it on our dinner plate or our serving plate. Now who's ever put that lovely big rib fillet or whatever it may be on our plate, we cut through and we end up with a big pool of blood. Well, not so much blood, but juice, depending how you like your steak cooked. We end up with that big bowl of juice at the bottom of our steak. What happens there is we don't give it time to rest and relax. So the moment we pull that steak off, we put it on our plate, we cut through it, naturally all that juice wants to run away. And same with the roast. We don't let that product rest for that good 5 to 10 minutes. What will actually happen is once we cut through that product, all that lovely juice will basically just disperse and run all over our plate. And it won't help keep that moisture in the product. And it comes into account very much so for people who like their product done well done. And the reason we say that is any product that we do cook over that medium stage, we are starting to ruin, guys, no matter how good the product is. What I'm basically trying to say is we can go to your local butcher and get the best product that there possibly is. We had the great team from Len Wallace down earlier this week with their private selection range. Now, the private selection stuff is certainly some of the best beef on the Australian market, that's for sure. But if we were to go home and not cook it right or treat it right, we do end up with a damaged product. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is, make sure we do get that common knowledge on a product and just see what we can do to get the best result out of it. Now, another topic I'd love to talk about before we start giving some of these beautiful sausages, Len Wallace some samples. We've got those great set of tongs. I haven't forgotten about that, Len. We'll fire them up with that question very, very shortly. I want to talk about, before I go there, I'll pop that little rock, straight under that dish. Now I'll let it go. And what I'll do is grab these fantastic digital thermometers. I'll leave that there with you then. You can keep an eye on that, and we'll see just how good that little piece of equipment is. Now, what I want to talk about is what we see here. It's rice bran oil. Do we have a raise of hands who actually cook with olive oil? Well, you aren't all getting free giveaways unless you change your ways, alright? Should never cook with olive oil, guys. Olive oil is designed for vinaigrettes, salad dressings. Now, there's a few reasons for it. One is olive oil is a beautiful, tasty oil. The moment we hit it with heat, we kill that heat. Has anyone ever heard of the extra virgin olive oil? We get virgin oil, extra virgin olive oil. The difference is our extra virgin olive oil is when they first press down the olives, that's that first press that comes out. So it's the cleanness, it's got the beautiful, smooth flavour about it. So why do we want to go and cook with it to ruin that lovely flavour? Now the other reason we like to stay away from olive oil when we're cooking is the heat side of it. Has anyone ever put olive oil on a plate before and it goes really, really smoky? The reason for that is what happens is once olive oil hits around 160 degrees, it smokes because it doesn't tolerate heat. Now this is where I'm a massive fan of rice bran oil. Rice bran oil will tolerate heat of up to 220 degrees, 230 before it starts to smoke. So it's not that often unless we deep fry that we go over that temperature. You'll find even to deep fry something, rice bran oil is fantastic for deep frying as well because it will tolerate that heat as well. Now it's not just rice bran oil, we've got the likes of macadamia nut oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. Coconut oil is a fantastic healthy oil, that's for sure. And a lot of people seem to think that the coconut flavour will go through. It actually doesn't, guys. You will not have any scent. It will smell coconut, but it actually won't carry through whatever the product that we do cook up carry through. Now, straight away, I know it all comes down to price. A lot of people think, well, avocado oil, coconut oil, macadamia nut oil, it's not cheap. Now I understand that, guys. At the end of the day, either is meat. So I think if we're going to want to cook that beautiful perfect steak or beautiful chop, why go and destroy it for the fact that we never bought the right oil to start with? And that's what I'm trying to showcase to everyone today. Now, another great thing I like to give heads up on when we talk barbecue is trying to keep moisture and flavour in a product. Now, we spoke about resting a product, removing a product from the fridge. That is very, very important. Another very important part of it is the fat. A lot of people come into us as a local butcher and they say, oh, I don't want all that fat left on their butch, cut it off. No worries, I'll cut it off. The next day they come into me and say, oh, it was dry and tough and chewy and tasteless. Straight away I feel like saying, well, you're the fool because you're the one who wanted me to cut the fat off. And that's exactly the reason for it. When we buy carcasses of beef or carcasses of lamb, what we look for is that fat. That fat is such an important part. It really showcases to us how fantastic that animal will be. Has anyone heard of the grading system called MSA? When they go through the grading system of MSA, the fat colour, the fat depth all really comes into it. So what I'm trying to say is next time time you do go and buy that beautiful steak and you see that fat coverage on the outside or a nice roast, make sure we leave it on there and remove it once it is cooked. Now I know a lot of people think, well, I don't want to pay for that fat. But if we do pay for that fat when it's on there, what we're basically doing is going to make that end product really, really nice. And I'm very fortunate to work alongside with Dell and Pete Evans. I don't know whether anyone's heard of those guys. They're the two chefs off my kitchen rules. And that's the sort of stuff I learned. And even from the likes of a restaurant point of view, they will cook all their products with that lovely fat through it, remove it from it before it actually goes out on presentation. And that's how they end up with that beautiful, perfect meal every time. Now, when we talk roasts, same scenario, and I just want to cover that topic of fat. There we go, that was like that pretty well done. We'll remove them and start to let them rest, I think, Len. As we can clearly hear, that lovely little gauge beeped at us, so we'll just see how perfect this is once we sit them there and let them rest away.
So what I've done just quickly there is I just used a little digital gauge to check that lamb. I wanted it medium, so we went 71 degrees. When it hit that, you notice I checked it a couple of times, and then I just checked it then, and it's ready now. There's no wet work, there's no cutting it, it's went from right into the hole in the product, so you wouldn't even know I've done it. So you can test it as many times as you like, never cut it.
So as I sit there and rest, I just want to quickly go over that topic on the roast. A lot of people come in and they source the topside roast, and the reason they want that is because it's a lovely lean cut of meat. Yes, it is, but now where the downfall is with the likes of the topside roast is it doesn't carry any fat. So naturally it won't carry moisture and won't carry flavour very well. So that's what we try to steer people. Unless they're going to roast up a beautiful rib fillet or rump, we tend to lead them also towards what we call a bowl blade roast. Has anyone ever heard of a bowl blade roast before? Or just a typical blade roast as you might have heard it as? The reason for that is it carries a really nice fat coverage on the top and helps carry that flavour. Now, does anyone know what a boot? I've actually got a shirt here that we can certainly give away if anyone can answer this question right. Does anyone know of a product that helps draw flavour out of the product? Whether it be a steak, whether it be a stew, whether it be a casserole. Now think if you've ever cooked that beautiful casserole and you think, oh, it's missing one ingredient. Can anyone guess what it might be? Gentleman over there in that shirt said it first, guys. Salt. He's spot on. Now, we can hand that shirt. I'll get you there. Another gentleman that's sitting down over there. I'll pass that on to you. That'll be fantastic. Now,
Put your hand up.
that's it.
Frisbee.
Now, salt is a very, very important part when it comes to cooking. Now, I know if there's any doctors out there in the crowd, they're going to argue with me about it because I know people think salt should be kept out of our diet. Have we got a doctor in the crowd? Probably go down this line. Probably won't put his hand up anyway. But what I want to talk to us about is we all go into the supermarket shelf and we all buy that cheap, nasty $1.70 bottle of salt. Now, where the downfall with that salt is to where I'm going to go with this is it's been processed. It's a bit like if we were to talk about sugar. A lot of people will go to the likes of what they call stevia. Has anyone heard of stevia before? It's a natural sweetener, which is really, really healthy. Now, we then go down to what we call the likes of brown sugar, raw sugar, I should say, sorry. Raw sugar hasn't been processed as much as when we get into that nice caster sugar or white sugar. And it's the same with salt. A lot of those tube salts that we pick up really, really cheap have been processed down to basically a grain like sand. So all of that goodness has been ripped out of it. That's why we like to suggest to people to go and purchase the likes of your big sea salt flakes or your pink Himalayan salt is fantastic. Sure, we've all probably seen on the market, pink Himalayan salt is becoming very, very popular. Right down to the likes of lamps and things like that. I know up in the process, actually the salt cave opened up, where it's all salt cave water, which is all run out of pink Himalayan salt. It's because our body wants that, our body needs it. But where people go wrong is we tend to substitute our life on a price. Now, I know it all is about money, guys, I do fully get that, but I don't think we can put a price on our life. That's where I do say to people, we can go and buy those natural, or more natural ingredients like the likes of your Himalayan salts and even your better graded oils, and we can make that beautiful product shine. and we can get that goodness out of it. Because we'll be very, very surprised what salt will do. Like that gentleman just said before, I know myself, you'll do that lovely beef ragout or an oxtail casserole or a beef stew, a lamb casserole, whatever it may be. We're going to add all those lovely flavours in it. Not just the meat, obviously, but your lovely herbs, your fresh garlics and vegetables. It's amazing what that little bit of extra salt will do to help bring out flavour. And same with that basic piece of steak. We end up with that lovely nice rib fillet steak. Sprinkle a little bit of salt onto it. It just really helps draw out that lovely natural pickiness. And it's quite surprising, like I say, I've seen some of this now with this fantastic McCormick spice. But if we get a great product, in the likes of a beautiful lamb or a beautiful beef, and throw it on our lovely barbecue plate, cook it up, it's amazing what just a little bit of salt and pepper will do to a product. I know myself, I've got some Wagyu not long back, and it wasn't real cheap. All I done was season it with a little bit of the rice bran island and salt and pepper, and that natural flavour of the meat really comes through. So, while we are Kenny slicing some of these great samples up, I'd just like to show everyone, we've got to cut that lamb back strap there in half. I'm going to test, probably a little bit hard for you guys to see. Now you had these little thermometer set at medium, wasn't it, Len? That is perfect, guys. We can see there's no juice running out of it. The reason for that is that, like I'm squeezing, we have a few little drops there, I'm squeezing that. Now because we did let it rest, that lovely thermometer gauge is cooked it perfect from the great guys over there at Mandel. Now, there's plenty of these to sample, but Mandel's been a fantastic sponsor of this show. Now, Len, you just said before, mate, that every purchase that he's made over there this afternoon, you're going to give it away a little freebie, mate?
Yeah, there's a freebie with everything. We've got some great products over there. It's not very expensive. And anything that we sell this afternoon, we're going to give away an additional thing.
There we go.
One thing I wanted to say was that lamb is actually beautiful. And it's just lamb done on a plate. I mean, Jonathan's very skilled, but with that little bit of McCormick seasoning, that's restaurant quality. If I had that in a restaurant, that would be perfect. I mean, I've had worse meals at restaurants and paid a lot more money for it. So the idea is that you can actually go to the butcher's, a good butcher, get a bit of meat, take it home, cook it, do it properly, and it's better than going out. And you're going to save money.
That's exactly right, man, and that's where the likes of this, for an amateur cook at home who isn't overly confident. I mean, I've had years and years of experience working in restaurants, working in butcher shops, and getting it right every time. It's a bit like a burger, you can go and put a frame on straight away and do it quite easy. But for the amateur cook at home who wants that restaurant-graded meal, this is where this gadget with thermometer gauges your tongs are fantastic. So they're a great gift idea. Father's Day not too far away, Christmas as well. And it's quite surprising, like Ian just mentioned, how we can go from doing that average meal and turning it to a restaurant quality meal. And all it comes down to is cooking that product perfect every time. And that's where the great guys at Mandel have come up with these fantastic ideas to get that restaurant quality meal at home. And all that is not achieving that right temperature every time we do it. Now the great guys at Mandel are going to give away this fantastic set of tongs up the top. Now Len's got the handheld mic there. Now we've got a question. We talk temperatures. These guys have got the settings spot on with everything. If someone can tell me what setting beef should be cooked at to get it medium, you will receive this fantastic set of tongs. Now then, I think that gentleman in, that's not a Carlton hat on your head though, is it?
There he was first up.
Oh, I thought if it was a Carlton hat, I wasn't going to ask him. I'm not a fan of Carlton.
First up, sir. Yell it out.
That was-
Oh, he's so close. So close. 71 is the turn.
71 is the correct.
Oh, sorry, sir. Well done. You got the well done one, but you've won the toss. No worries at all.
Now 71 is the correct setting. But what I'd like to cover is now, guys, that was for beef. When we talk lamb, poultry, turkey, burgers, it's actually a different setting. And that's where the likes of these tongs, I mean, guys, I think you've got them over $25. Is that what I think?
Yeah, we've got them on special for $25 for the digital times, plus you get a free gift. Go over and see Liz there. She's at our counter and she's ready to go. She has to get you there.
For $25, guys, it's a fantastic buy. And the reason I say that is whether we're cooking chicken breast, turkey at Christmas, the perfect steak, the perfect lamb steak, the perfect lamb roast, whatever it may be, they've got the setting for everything. And that's all we basically do is we go through